Hello and welcome to another edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. I am your host, Vytheeshwaran. Spending the last year between Microsoft Teams and Zoom meetings has given me an opportunity to look at some of the best and some of the worst slide decks that have graced this beautiful world. In today's episode, I would like to share some of my pet peeves when it comes to PowerPoint presentations. While this particular list is definitely not an exhaustive list, I have picked some of my favorites, or rather non-favorites, for this particular episode. So without further ado, let's get started. My first pet peeve is not exactly to do with PowerPoint as a tool, but the way in which most presentations begin their existence on PowerPoint. Doing this will almost always result in an incoherent medley of ideas, both from a visual and from a content perspective. Always start your presentations on paper and not on PowerPoint. While PowerPoint is an excellent tool for presenting ideas, it is definitely not the best tool for generating and collating your ideas. Do this on paper. Finalize what exactly you want to present from a structure as well as a content perspective, and once that is done, then open PowerPoint. My next pet peeve is the presenter's insensitivity to who their audience is. I have been part of a number of business presentations where the presenter had no idea as to who I am and what my expectations are, or sometimes even worse, they think they know who I am and what I want much better than even I do. A thorough audience analysis is therefore very critical to learn what to have and what not to have in your slides. This will make sure that your presentation is absolutely impactful for the people that matter, your audience. My next pet peeve is clutter. Having too much information on a single slide while talking to it creates a sort of a contest between you and your slide. And remember that this is a battle where none of you win. When designing slides, ensure that you have only one idea per slide. The next point that I would like to address in this particular topic is word count. Don't have more than 20 words on a single slide. It is always a good practice to use keywords on your screen. It is important to remember PowerPoint slide should act as a scaffold for your speech and not as a script. And this brings me to my next pet peeve, which is actually a PowerPoint myth. Less is more. The lesser slides you have, the more impactful your presentation will be. I'll give you a small instance. During one of my presentations that I did last month, I gave a small test to my audience. After a 60-minute presentation, I asked my audience to guess the number of slides that I had on my deck. Their answers ranged from 8 to 15 slides, when in reality, I had actually got 54 slides on my deck. My audience were shocked when I revealed the slide count, and none of them felt like going through a 54 slide deck at any point during my presentation. So it's not about the slide count. What you put on your slides count. The last pet peeve that I want to talk about in this episode is the compulsive habit of presenters to put their logos on every slide. Sometimes as a watermark in the background, which makes it even worse. It is important to understand that every element that you place on your slide competes with every other object on your slide for attention. Having an unnecessary logo or anything unnecessary for that matter only distracts your audience. As a simple rule, reserve your first and last slides for logos and concentrate more on your content for the rest of your presentation. Your audience will definitely make a conscious effort to understand who you are and what your brand is if your presentation resonates with them. So this is my personal list, and I'm quite sure most of you will agree with what I've just said. If you do or don't agree with this list, or if you feel you've witnessed something even more horrific than what I've just talked about here, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I would love to have a conversation with you on that. Thanks a lot for for tuning into this edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. If you like what you heard, go ahead and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for getting the latest updates on my videos and live streams first on your inbox. If you have any questions or clarifications, please leave a message in the comment section below, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.